Hi everyone, I'm Talisa and I'm going to be your moderator for the Gleaner Premium webinar under the title Wheel and Come Again, Creating Opportunities from Change. Now, the financial viability of the entertainment industry has been impacted drastically over the last 2 years, forcing all stakeholders to adjust to this ever-changing industry. More than ever, the digital world has taken precedence. Let's explore the entertainment landscape in the eyes of our panelists. And here with us today, of course, we have a very diverse panelist, inclusive of Grammy Award winning producer and entrepreneur Frankie Music from Frankie Music Production. We also have Latonya Style, who is an international choreographer and dancer from Stylishmoves, Dance Jamaica, and Online School JA. We have Teddy Laidley of Teddy Laidley Productions, and of course, C.R. Williams, founder of C.R. Williams Performing Arts Academy. They will each share how they have created their own opportunities from change. Welcome, everyone. Now, let us begin with Teddy Laidley. Hi, Teddy. Teddy, you are the go-to agent for many entertainers who are booked for shows outside of Jamaica. You have worked with the likes of Jimmy Cliff, Tyrus Riley, Frankie Paul, Israel Vibration, and so much more. Mr. Laidley, the floor is yours.
More than any other industry, the entertainment industry has been hit the hardest, especially for what I do in getting artists to travel globally to perform. As you're all aware that the world stopped, the better part of last year. So a lot of artists could not travel. And so the traveling, the performance helped to deal with their income. Now, I don't think we have even got around to even start traveling, because what I've seen substitute for traveling is virtual shows, which in itself doesn't carry the trickle down effect. And let me just explain that briefly. The trickle down effect is that when they're going viral, most of the time it's just the artists that being commissioned. So persons like myself, who is the manager, the booking agent, the band members, the vocal, the technical support, are not a part of that virtual world. So the trickle down effect don't reach us. So basically, we don't benefit much from viral shows, because, like I mentioned to you, all they need is the artist. It don't work out. The spread doesn't go across the full spectrum of the entertainment. So what I mentioned as a trickle down effect, the airline don't benefit, the hotel don't benefit, the road person who pick us up at the airport don't benefit. So when we're not able to travel, the wider spectrum of all involved don't benefit from when we are not able to travel. So we have not yet recovered from that. So one or two artists, what they have done is that artists who have work permit, what they have done, especially for the United States, they have entered the United States and stayed there and performing. The good thing about it is that once they are in the country, they can ask for an extension of their work permit, which can be granted to them. But if they come home to Jamaica, they now have to apply for a work permit to re-enter the United States.
In regards to the permits, you were saying that they have the opportunity to extend their permits for a longer period in the US?
No, let's get something clear. Their permit has to be still in existence. So for example, if somebody is on a permit and it was, take for example, last year they were in the States and it's going to expire, say, January of this year. While they are in the States, they can ask for extension. Once they are engaged in show production, the same company that applied for them can extend by saying that they have worked there. But once they leave and come home to Jamaica, they now have to get an approved petition to take into the United States Embassy to be granted a visa to re-enter the United States.
Okay. So there are, in fact, provisions that are put in place to assist those cases where the permits would have been expired while they're in the US.
Yeah, if what they would have done is ask for an extension before it expired.
Okay. All right. And in regards to you being able, as an agent who oftentimes solicits these permits or apply for these permits on behalf of the artist, what has happened, or has it been difficult for you to be able to assist them during this time? Because I do understand that there is an issue with giving out or applying for new permits now.
There is an issue, and there are new I don't want to say policies come in place. There are some changes that take place, and there are also a backlog that is taking place right now with permits. So one of the thing now, what happened last year, because many events were canceled because of the COVID, they are now requesting that you do new contracts, and these contracts have to be authenticated. They are doing their own investigation to make sure that these events are taking place, that the promoters are authentic promoters, the venue, because a lot of promoters, to be honest with you, a lot of promoters are out of business. A lot of clubs are out of business because here what is happening. If a club capacity, say for example, it holds say 1,000 people or 600 people, because they were saying the social distance, you're not able to have the numbers in the club to make a profit. Worst of all, if you don't own the club. So say for example, I rent the club. No, all my income will only come from the gate receipt. Now, out of that, I have to pay the band or the back line. I have to take care of hotel accommodation. I have to take care of flight. I have to take care of ground transportation. Plus, I have to take care of paying the artists. Now, if the numbers don't make it in the club, there is no reason for me to even rent the club because I'm not going to make any money with regards to the numbers coming because of the COVID protocol. So therefore, I'm out of business. The club again make its money from the numbers of people in terms of the bar stocks, right? The drinks, So if you don't own the club and do the show, it's a loss for you.
All right, let me just backtrack a bit. We spoke about, well, you brought up basically some new policies that would have been put in place. Can you speak a little bit regarding these new policies, what they are, and also what an artist who is unable to travel now, an artist who does not have a permit now, what can he do now while he's in Jamaica?
Well, okay, let's take the last question first. What can he do? I know quite a few artists, and more the popular artists are doing well with dub plates, right? He can spend more time on social network, the social network space, to give a more attention to himself and more visible presence in the marketplace. When before COVID, he might be too busy, not able to take care of things like those. So he can spend time now to doing his housekeeping. That is critical for him to do some serious housekeeping. He can spend time in studios to do more recording. right? And he can, and like I mentioned before, spend time now with his fans, to get to know his fans, to get to be able to have a visual presence. That's in my opinion that what he can do. With regard to the new policies of the travel, no, the traveling is not going to be same old, same old. One, person have to be fully vaccinated. That's the first thing, right? Secondly, the shows have to be authentic. It's not a matter of to be announced or to be confirmed. That don't work no more. It have to be legitimate events taking place. So you can't do a work permit now and thinking, oh, you're going to put on it to be confirmed or to be announced. That's not going to work.
Okay. So is it that it's getting a little bit harder now or going into 2022 to get these permits?
Yes, it's getting a little bit tougher. And here is the other side that making it tougher. And for persons who I am glad we're using this forum so I can share some information. Let me just tell persons this. The Jamaican and the US and the Canadian and British share what we call in terms of a tax cooperation, meaning if you're paying taxes in Jamaica and you work in the US, there is some relief that take place. As long as you, I'm trying to find the word here. So for too long, artists go into the United States and they work and the promoter pay them and they don't end up paying tax out of that money, right? There is a window, just like, for example, here in Jamaica, if you earn below the 1.5, you don't pay tax. The same thing in the United States. There's numbers of dates out of the year that if you work, you don't pay tax. It's exempt. If you go over those days, then you pay tax. So what I'm appealing to persons within the entertainment fraternity, be tax compliant. It's just like, for example, when you're in Jamaica, for example, a business person like myself, who is tax compliant, who have their TCC, it make it easier for us to be able to get any benefit from the system. Just the same thing in the United States. Once you're making your contribution, you can do your rebate and you can get your tax return. So I try to tell persons, once you get your work permit, try and get your social. Try and make your contribution to the system, because for too long, too many of our artists go in the United States, it shows that they've been paid, and then Uncle Sam sometimes get them for tax evasion. And they can't work in the States, and they've been denied work permit. And there's number of persons I can tell you about that have happened to. For too long, we are solely dependent on the music. And I keep on saying to persons, especially artists, that you're a product. Don't solely depend on the music. You are a product, and there's several byproducts that you can do. Whether you're going to fashion, whether you're going to be in endorsed product, whether you go into other things apart from the music, but the music is what people know of you, but there must be other byproduct. So that is what I am saying to artists now. Look at yourself as a product, and what are the byproducts that can come from you.
Thank you so much, Teddy. I really did learn a lot. from your presentation. I realize now it is very important to become tax compliant and operate your business in entertainment as a business,
Yeah.
because it's becoming even more difficult to get permits with everything that is happening. I also understand that social media is essential at this time as it helps to increase the presence in the marketplace, and that the time that we presently have now off touring should probably be used to perfect our craft, build our fan base, build a brand, an overall brand that is lucrative and not solely dependent on probably say the main talent or your main talent. We're going to move to our next speaker because entertainment is far more than just music. And oftentimes, when we hear about the entertainment industry, we think so much about music, but there is so much more. Our next speaker is a lecturer, playwright, actor, and founder of C.R. Williams Performing Arts Academy. Help me to welcome Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams?
Good day, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night to everyone. Yes, it's such a pleasure being here to share the value and the what you call the existence and rebirth of theater, if you want to put it like that. But I mainly speak, when I say theater, I speak of several things. I speak from drama, theater, and film, because I see a direct connection there. The theater coming out of drama, the existence, yeah? And that shaping moment from drama that brings out theater, that brings the product, yeah? And that's where I see it. But what has been happening mainly in the field of theater, you notice that we depend on an audience to come out to see the product, yeah? And what has been happening is that once you lose that during the pandemic, you are losing either money, audience, viewership, whatever it is, or the support or the sponsorship. And that is where the challenge evolved. And once that disappears, the theater industry starts to think, okay, what can we do next? But the seasoned theater practitioners would say that, okay, theater has to happen face-to-face and online and Zoom and so on is not the place for theater. I didn't see it like that. Honestly, I didn't see it like that because I think you have to work in the now and evolve out of the moment. So although we couldn't have performances face-to-face, I embraced different opportunities where you use the platform that existed, and we've tried several of them, realizing that we could come to Zoom and even StreamYard and so on to put on your production. Tested them privately to show that theater does not stop in a theater space, so to speak. I do a studio, but online now gives you even more opportunities to embrace and engage others. So I've, for example, from my side, I've embraced and engaged a number of young practitioners who have been hungry for a moment to be placed in the spotlight. Because once you do in theater, it becomes like a marketing strategy. Now you use the faces that are known and you put them in the forefront, and you earn money, revenue-based. And so we've embraced a different approach where we take a young practitioners, amateurs, you would call them, in training. We put them on, we train on Zoom, and then we developed. So I've evolved into developing a new approach for plays where I digitize them, animate them, or we flip them. So we created out of the actors, we've now designed where you get the actors to perform, we record, edit, film, and we animate it so that you click to watch a play. Out of visuals, you get visual, you get the sound and everything just from your phone or online, right? So we've developed that. Going further, we realize that the challenge is where you cannot have that face-to-face. Even theater practitioners have been challenged and they are breaking down. Mentally, it's affecting them and they want a space to perform. They want something to do. They want a place to go. They need to let the mind or set the mind free. And out of this process, I say the pandemic worked extremely well for me in the sense that I've been able to help a lot of persons who think that they've been doing theater just for the purpose of entertaining, but didn't realize that they were having mental challenges, emotional challenges. And so I've flipped the thing into what you call developing a program that's designed for therapy. So I've developed a course which is eventually a program of training and intervention where I help theater practitioners and other general persons who've been experiencing a lot of issues with gender-based violence and so on during the pandemic. That is where the evolution took place. So it's happened online, it's happened through Zoom. And when we got the moment, for example, here to meet face-to-face, we had a few sessions or practical physical sessions to ensure that we remain relevant. And that was the context here of remaining relevant. And that's how the industry has to work. You have to remain relevant and work with what exists. So adding my skills from film with drama into theater and converting that skills and that voice and that acting, editing it, packaging it. And that is the approach I took in terms of theater.
Thank you so much, Mr. Williams. Boy, that was a mouthful and I learned so much from that presentation. I especially like the part that you said, work in the now, evolve out of the moment. That is just beautiful. Love that. Especially because that's what this seminar is all about. Just being able to adapt and to stay relevant during what we see as very difficult times. You also made mention of the use of platforms such as Zoom and StreamYard for production, and that you outlined that going online gave you more opportunities to engage with a wider audience. You also mentioned that more opportunities were made for you to be more creative and that you utilize animation as well. Have you been able to capitalize more in terms of on the financial end when it comes to being online?
It has been a break-even moment.
Okay.
Honestly, yeah, it brought out the creativity in it, but it has been mainly a break-even moment for being online. And discovering, for me, it was discovering and reaching new audiences, new clients, as I would say. Because there are persons who enjoy reading, but they love the visual. But the persons who don't want to spend time reading or viewing, who want to be in the moment, we had to gain other audience. So it was a moment of gaining other clients. That's what has really transpired out of it. But as I said to you, we were able to pull through just before our lockdown, one production. And it brought for us, it was profitable because people wanted a place to go. They wanted to see something. So immediately after our production, there was a lockdown. And that was the end of theater face-to-face. And there are companies who were trying for like 2 years to put on a production. And each time for that 2 years, 2019 to now, they couldn't get through to it. But we were lucky in strategizing and using the space to launch the production and break even with a small profit inside of there, I would say. But the coming online is what gave us a wider reach in terms of viewers, audience, and more persons signing on to what we do.
Let's talk a little bit about the production, the quality of the production. What were the differences in the production, the quality of the production when it comes to online versus the actual feel of being face-to-face?
Okay, face-to-face, you embrace every element, physical, all the lights and the sound, face-to-face that happens. With all the props, stage management, all of that take place. But there is not basically really a challenge because you have the actors moving left, right, center, up, rolling if all of that happens. But when you go to online, you are now focusing on what you call the vocal energy. Yeah. So although you're on stage, you are acting, you are using the voice and the body, but we focus more on, set design and getting your characters to embrace what you call the elements of the production so that you can bring life and get the audience to say, yeah, what a great show. I love your set. I love this and that. But with our online move, what we did is focus more on the vocal production and energy that could touch the emotions of the audience and the viewers. So when they came in there, you were getting actors who were embraced and what you call involved in the process. While the audience say, yes, I felt it. So we transitioned from just focusing on lights, sound, and we also added a bit of the background sound on Zoom. So I did put some of the sound effects using Zoom so that while they are reading and so on, as I told you, I do film. So I brought the film elements online into the theater production.
I love that. Now, did you find that you had to reduce your costs when it comes to charging persons for online screening as opposed to if you were doing a face-to-face?
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. Nothing changed because we always give a product that excite the people and they buy into exactly what we do. So nothing changed. There was no change. And they wanted it. Remember, theater is, people are hungry for theater performances. But when you redesign it, and as I said, I added an element of film to what we do. And you know, film has everything tied into it, sound effects and all of that. And that is where we brought the change.
All right.
Nothing else changed.
So thank you so much. You spoke to theater as therapy or becoming therapeutical. I do have to mention, you know, it has been a very rough 2 years for a lot of persons, especially having to just not have that face-to-face connection like they normally do, a lot of social distancing. Can you speak a little bit more to the therapy aspect of it, or can you give me an idea as to something that happened that was a wow moment for you when you realized that this thing that you were doing was making change or creating some form of impact?
Yes, definitely. Now, from 2019, I felt that there was a moment when you had to move from that element of performance and production to the emotional aspect. And I've been lecturing, I lectured at Edna Manley College, and before I started my own school here in Grenada. And what has been happening, a lot of the students, as I say, are emotionally challenged. And not just the students, I'm talking about adults, everyone who come to the space to participate, emotionally connect to something. So what I have done, realizing that the majority of persons focus on production and money and all of that, I decided to help persons emotionally. So I took it out of the realm of just entertaining, but to helping persons to find balance. And I realized that a lot of persons who were emotionally abused, physically and sexually abused were clinging towards that program. I've developed a program, I designed a program that works online. And so I have been helping a number of persons. For example, when I was in Jamaica in 2020, a parent would call me from Grenada and say that her daughter is standing on the roof. She's going to jump anytime, and none of them could stop her. I had to use my questioning strategies that I've mastered in drama and the elements of theater to get that child to start laughing, to sit down, to go back downstairs and talk with the parents. So there's a lot that you can do with the theater, but you delve into the psychological aspect of it, where you help persons to see where the problem started, to see how they can solve it. So it's solution oriented. And that program I've developed, I've called it Mental Peace, where you find a peace of mind. And so I've been doing it online for Jamaicans. I've helped a number of students in Jamaica, a few parents, and in Grenada, Antigua, St. Lucia, just by doing the online program, where you go to a level of realization, questioning techniques, and character shaping, molding online, without doing any big form of acting.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. That definitely is an interesting story. And I'm very happy that I asked about it. Mental illness is, in fact, a taboo topic, especially in the entertainment industry. We find that a lot of people shy away from speaking about it. And because of that, oftentimes when persons feel suicidal, they tend to want to keep it to themselves. They're afraid to tell other persons about it because somebody's going to say that they're mad or something wrong with them or they're going crazy. Frankie, are you here? Frankie Music?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Frankie. Can you weigh in on that real quick before we head over to your presentation? Do you find that where entertainers are concerned, because you manage entertainers, as well as the fact that you work as a producer as well, do you find that it is oftentimes hard for entertainers to speak about their issues, whether it comes to having depression or anxiety?
Yeah, entertainment are human beings. So what you need to do with people like, as I said, because what I call it now, popular, they're afraid that it's for them news fast. So they try to hold it for a longer time than a right person. So as soon as they get that confidence level, they will tell you, man, if you create that father or family vibe, they will share anything with you.
Okay.
Especially when you manage them, because you don't want to manage an artist and you don't know what is going on.
That's true. That's true. All right. So our next speaker is not new to entertainment. As a matter of fact, he has a Grammy Award to prove that hard work pays off. The biggest names in dancehall have enlisted Frankie for their timeless productions. Now we're talking about people like DeMarco, Christopher Martin, Elaine, Voicemail, Qual, D Major, Aisha Davis, Chuck Fender, and so much more. Welcome, Frankie. Thank you so much for being here. We are so delighted to have you. And I can't wait for you to tell me just how much you have adapted to the changes. But before you tell me about these changes, can you tell me how the last 2 years and with all of these changes as a result of COVID-19, how did it affect you as an entrepreneur and as a producer? And then I'd like you to tell me how you adjusted.
Because I try to adjust myself, I always a leader. And when this whole pandemic come, my focus was, I don't know how long this can stay, so I have to prepare myself. I'm not gonna stop. You have to adjust yourself to changes. So with all the changes that come, the longer it take and 1 year and another year come, I already mentally prepare myself. I listened to the other speaker before and the one and Teddy. You just have to make the best of your time, because what really happened, years Teddy been telling us things, but them never see the importance of it. Because they use other things that more important than the business side. Because we not in Jamaica, we just do the music. We never really do the business. And it named music business. You cannot do one area of the business. So I think our person and myself, we have time to learn more business.
Okay, so what I'm getting from you, Frankie, is that now more than even before, it is important for us to embrace the business side of music to be able to adapt to the changes that we're seeing.
Yeah, because when I just started to do production, it was hard copy. And you'd have to do every single step, the printer, the stamper, the shipment, go make sure reach all the record store in the States. Then it's to digital. We have to take that time, or we're gonna change from that to digital. And now even it's still new to us. So this Corona time does make me learn how streaming work, how content, how important it is to have your content, our own your content.
Do you find that streaming has taken precedence even over downloading or even the purchasing of music during this time?
Yeah, it will. And it's just like when we move from record to CD, and now move from CD to stream to download, and now it moved to rental. You just have to learn how people receive things and how people doing things.
Let's backtrack just a little bit, Frankie. Tell me about some of the challenges that initially back in 2020, the early part of 2020 that you had before you started to adjust. What were immediately some of the challenges that you faced?
The challenge that I faced was how, the burnout, the energy that you get from interaction, where you see people enjoy themselves, where you see people react to your work. It gives you a different vibe when you see it how it play in the club or it play in the party. When you go back to make the music, you kind of try to maintain that vibe. So when you never have that now, it's just like imagine how people gonna think of it. So that is a challenge.
Right. Teddy spoke earlier and he did say that when it comes to virtual shows, it doesn't have that same impact. Do you find that is happening when it comes to artists even performing on virtual shows? I'm asking you as an artist manager as well.
Yeah, mentally prepare yourself that it's like you have to make the people in front of it. And that is the way you have to approach it, because some people energy rise just like a football game, the football work harder, you know. Just you perform in front of the people that they don't want to stop. So you have to create that world in your head while you're doing in front of the camera.
What do you predict rather for 2022? Do you think we're gonna still be in the state that we are now, or do you think that we're gonna have a shift based on vaccinations and all of these new policies? What are your views? What do you think is gonna happen?
To be honest, how I look at it, we have to learn to live with this going on. And even if the country get to go, things get a little better, it's still gonna be different. Can't be the same. For anybody who think that life gonna be the same, like, you know, just like sometimes you hear the people in the 90s, the 80s, that will never come back. It's just like how we used to live. If some kids going to high school and then second form or going to third form, I never meet them classmates. So it's a whole mind change of how they're gonna look at things. You know, you're gonna have kids that are gonna stay in the house and don't want to go out. I remember I used to get beaten because I have to go outside and play with my friends. You know? So things gonna different and people gonna really look at things different. And we just have to brace yourself. One thing I can tell the youth them though, trying to experience people, you know? Because I listen to Teddy saying so much things. A lot of people don't know that, even though I have the privilege to know it because I have a business outside of entertainment. I have a mentor, Robert Livingston, Bobby Digital, Mikey Bennett. These guys tell me about what happened in a freedom time. So I can prepare myself for my time. So the youth them nowadays, they just need to just ask questions and reach out.
Thank you so much, Frankie. I do agree with that. I have another question to pose, but before I pose that question, because I think it's right across the board, I do want to go to our next speaker, who is a professional dancer, choreographer, dance and fitness instructor, Jamaican cultural ambassador, and overall a dancehall expert. Latonya Style will speak on dance as an integral part of the entertainment industry. Latonya, the floor is yours.
So you said how it affected us, basically. That's the question. For me personally, it actually gave me good opportunities, taught me to think outside the box. Because what happened is I don't allow challenges or anything like that to just stop the flow. So as someone who is always pioneering and always like paving the way and opening the doors, I always come up with creative ideas to make things happen. And this was before the pandemic. So just imagine now, you know, we locked down, but we still have to make things happen. So for me, it was, I mean, all right, I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but it was a wonderful experience in terms of creativity and coming up with all these new ideas in terms of just figuring out how to survive. And as dancers, you know, it's face to face for us because we were like, personally, I used to be like, no, we're not teaching nobody online. Why teach online when you can fly to Jamaica and learn? Or bring us to your country. So that's how we got to tour the world. And, you know, with this no longer in existence, we had to just say, you know what, we don't have a choice. So, you know, we had to adapt to the change and work with the online thing. It was shaky at first because, you know, we had to figure out about PayPal, how we get paid from somebody all the way in Australia or somebody in China. How are we gonna, you know, connect that part of it? And you can't Western Union $25 from Australia to Jamaica. That's ridiculous. So I literally had to learn to operate PayPal. I ended up doing my website, which was long overdue. And the good thing about all of this, I wasn't dependent on anyone. Before, I had to call somebody to do my graphics. I had to call somebody to do this. Me do everything because I had the time to do it. Yeah. So I think it made me more efficient. because, you know, building your own flyers, creating your own platform to collect the money, and PayPal would have been the most effective and affordable way for us Jamaicans, especially if we're paying for a little $25 class or something like that. And you know, the Shopify, I had to learn how to do it. So it was growth and development for me in the e-commerce world. And I really appreciate that, because guess what? I used to travel up and down. I remember being in Dubai for 10 hours. In the airport, can't come out because I never had a visa. And what I do in the airport? Nothing. 15 hours from New York to Dubai, 15 hours from Dubai to Australia. I was just traveling. And you know, you miss out from your family life and all of that. And I stayed home and got through with most of my touring stuff just being here in Jamaica. The same benefits of touring and even in the comfort of my home. So that was the advantage of it. Doing the same thing that I love, teaching and connecting to the world via a digital platform. And what made this even more interesting is that we were connecting to several countries at a time. So before, you know, you had to fly to Australia, fly to Europe. This time I had like 20 countries in one space, 20 representatives in their country on one screen. So we get to connect with multiple peoples from all over the world with this virtual world. Another advantage for me with the pandemic was that I got to bond with my family. Because being somebody that travel a lot, you know, you miss out on your family life. It was interesting when we had the serious first set of lockdowns. I was playing Monopoly, Ludo, teaching my son all of these board games, and me and him outside playing volleyball and football. And, you know, I really appreciate that, because not only are we entertainers, we are also human beings that have a life and a family. And a lot of time we get distracted from the touring and all over the place and the working, and we neglect that aspect. So I think that was great for me to actually bond with my son, because since he was born, I've been touring a lot. And this time, you know, it was really good for the family. What else can I touch on that everybody else didn't talk about?
Let's talk about finances. I do want to know, now that you are presently doing these classes online, do you earn, you don't have to say the amount, but do you earn more being online? Is it that you have more persons on board so you earn more, or is it that you're earning less now that you have to adopt and have these classes or host these classes online?
All right, it depends. All right, so the thing is, eliminate the plane ticket, the accommodation, providing meals, all of that. We still have to charge the money, because guess what? When you're not spending those, you're not going to have those expenses. So we literally don't drop the price. We try to keep it on the same level, because they're not getting the live energy, but we still want to keep it on that level. And I think I have balanced it in terms of staying home and touring. So financially, it is a good look once you know how to market yourself and promote. It's not easy, because you have to post a lot and do your little video into promotions, not just posting a flyer, because people like to read flyers. You know, you have to provide giveaways, you have to do little strategic stuff. But once you do get that, you can make money. And I safely say some money was made. Not
good.
I mean,
I'm happy. I'm happy to hear that.
yes.
All right, I should ask, for some persons, dancing is often seen as a hustle. What do you think is the best move for up and coming dancers to survive or to break out in the industry, in the business side of the industry?
All right. Everything in entertainment for me is a hustle. Yeah. For the dancers that are coming up in the business, I think it's all about professionalism. It's all about building a fan base, knowing that you are a brand. So people are not only coming to you because of the moves. They're coming to you because they like your hairstyle. They're coming to you because your personality seems cool and they want to say, hey, I know her, or hey, I went to her class. They're coming to you because of so much more than the dance. All right. So in terms of appearance, that has a lot to it. So for example, I went to a seminar and people didn't know what dancehall was when they advertised it. They thought it was a ballroom dance. But when I popped up in my green hair and braids and my hair looked crazy, everybody's like, wow, we have to go to her class. And they went just for the image. They didn't even know if I could dance or what I was going to do. So that just goes to say, don't be sloppy. Don't take those things for granted. Make sure you have the full package. So your professionalism, be on time, make sure your things are quality, make sure you can articulate with your students. And this is for the teaching work, because as you know, guys, the performance part of the dancing is kind of going down. It's mostly teaching that is successful right now in the dance scene. Yeah. So you just have to know how to structure your classes, stuff like that. So I think professionalism, image, and just knowing that you're a brand, also adding on your merch, you know, provide a little t-shirt or something to sell on the side. All of this is important for growth in your dance career.
Are we seeing the connection with everyone here between theater, dance, music? It's all a connection. We're talking about treating the entertainment business as a business. Yes. We're talking about branding and marketing, taking the forefront, being integral, especially now. We're talking about the use of online platforms. We're talking about streaming. We're talking about e-commerce, which is a great point. Latonya, thank you so much for bringing that up. We are talking about as Latonya said, she had to learn new skills. She went out of her way. She could have sat down. She could have gotten someone to pay someone to do this and pay someone to do that. That would have cut into what she was making. No, but instead she took the time out because she had the time, because of being in at home. She had the time now to learn these new skills and to utilize online mediums. She then mentioned that she used the time to better herself, and she also realized that marketing is essential even more now than. So we see her holding up her. Is that your book? Yes. So tell me, so did that happen within the last 1 to 2 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Did. I'm so happy.
So tell me briefly about that, and did the idea come as a result of you now having time on your hands to really commit to it? You had the idea a long time, but now you had the time. Is that it?
Well, I had pamphlets before. I had small booklets where I just printed at the printing place. And I mean, I had to do that because I didn't have a publisher, because I guess I reached out to a couple, but nobody replied. And I didn't understand, how do I put out my own book? And because of this lockdown, I went and I figured it out, found out about a company that actually prints on demand. So I don't need to buy 100 copies and have them store up and cancel. They're sold. Each time somebody buys it, the company prints it and ships it wherever, all around the world. So it's so efficient, and I'm so proud because it's high quality, you know, colored pages, and I get to put dance on paper and make dancehall thing look.
Who would have thought that you can learn dancehall, dance moves?
Yes, illustrations and all. Illustrations by Robin Clare. She's in Australia. So she did my editing. She did the dance move illustrations for me. And I did, you know, like crossword puzzles, all kind of things in this. Lots of challenges.
So Latonya, you really did utilize your time well. You adapted well. You have been doing amazing things, even from before the last 1 to 2 years. I have been following. I've been seeing where you have been doing a lot of things for dancehall overall and dancehall dances overall.
Yeah, I just want to make mention of one thing. I'm just going to ask her to make sure that the Institute, the National Library downtown, get a copy of our book.
Yes.
I will. Yes. Thank you for that.
Please make sure that they archive your book, because of the whole copyright, and sometimes people might not think that is Jamaica, because that's one of the unfortunate thing about it. When we create something and the world take it, if we don't put things in place now, then you're going to hear that it belongs to them. So please make sure that National Library has a copy of your book.
Okay.
And
Uh,
Latonya, you are carrying the Jamaican flag very high, you're raising it very high. We want to
yeah.
ensure, as Teddy said, that it is a Jamaican
Yes,
that
Jamaican product, yes.
it is
yeah.
Yes.
100% Jamaican. The lady
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Australia, she's
yes.
Jamaican as well. So she's
Oh,
actually Jamaican.
wow.
Right.
Yes, my partner in the illustration, she's Jamaican as well. So that's a good thing.
So for each person on this platform, I do want to ask you to just share what's your word of advice, persons in entertainment.
The bottom line for me is out of adversity, always try to create opportunity. Yeah. Yeah. You see, like everything else, we don't know. 2 years ago, we didn't know that this was going to come upon us. I remember 2018, 2019, Canada opened up back for shows. We had Sizzler there for a long time, Cocoa Tea, we have Shabba. And I was talking to the promoter, and he was like, next year, Teddy, it's going to be a bomb. Next year didn't happen. It was 2020. Did not happen. So the changes in the next couple of, I don't see there's going to be a turnaround until about 2025. Personally, from where I sit, 2025, because even in terms of touring, I think people now become, especially some of the promoters, are coming very comfortable in doing the virtual concert because it cut costs. And so a lot is going to change in the next 2 years.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Teddy. And of course, Mr. Williams, can you share your advice for those persons going forward in entertainment?
Yes, well, the arts is basically a shaper, a documenter of elements, history within society. So we have to continue to use the elements of now to continue documenting and shaping the way of life of our people, because the creative arts documents history more than anything else, always ignored. So continue the process, use what exists and shape around it. Shape your path to success using the arts.
Love that. Thank you so much, Mr. Williams. Frankie, words of advice?
Just learn how the business side of it, the content, and if you don't know, just align yourself with people who know, and don't afraid to ask.
Love that. And Latonya?
I agree with everyone. Love those advices. I would also like to add to that, don't limit yourself. That's one thing I always tell people, and always search and try to discover your talent that God give you, because all of us have a gift and a talent, and sometimes we settle for less. We just work for people and we're unhappy and we're sad. Listen, to get happiness in life, you have to do what you love. So find it somewhere. If you look on TikTok, you see how much people, regular working people, turn actress and actor. Look at Tammy Chin and Wayne Marshall. They're now vloggers, and you get what I'm saying? The dancers turn into social media influencers and people doing different stuff. A lot of dancers has become artists. And you know what? Dancing don't make as much money as artists. So I applaud them. Tap into your musical skills, whatever skills you have. I think that is the way to go for the future. Be an entrepreneur. Try to have a happy life by doing what you love and earning from what you enjoy doing. Make your passion your profession.
I am excited. Can I just tell you that I'm excited? I'm a part of the entertainment industry, and for the very first time in a very long time, I actually feel excited. And I'm excited because you have all shared some very good insights with me. You made me feel so looking forward to 2020 and deciding that, listen, I need to do things very much differently than what I'm doing right now. I probably just need to get up off the couch and do a lot more. I probably was wasting all of this time before, and I need to do more. I learned that entertainment business is a business and I should treat it as such. I learned that diversifying your brand is key. I need to do more. I learned that branding and marketing is essential, even more now than ever before. I also learned that I should learn and understand the business part of the business, and that I could possibly learn, go online and research or get a mentor. And I also learned from Latonya just now that I should never limit myself. Can you imagine that? Oh gosh, I don't want to end the webinar. It's too nice. That's it. I really, really learned a lot. We have basically come to the end of the webinar, Wheel and Come Again, creating opportunities for change. I'm excited about this webinar. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank our speakers and, of course, the Gleaner Premium subscribers for tuning in. I sincerely hope that the content from Wheel and Come Again, creating opportunities from change, helped you to adapt to the changes we're presently witnessing. Thank you guys so much for joining and being a part.